This is the Uncuffed playlist. This is DJ Picho, and the songs you just heard was Mi Vicio Más Grande by Banda El Recodo, Todos Hablan Nada Saben by Grupo Firme, El Circo del Payaso by Grupo Fernández, and Las Enseñanzas by Ulises Chaidez. And those songs you just heard, especially the first one, they take me back to my childhood. I mentioned earlier on how these three people come to my mind when I think of perseverance. And even though, yes, we are all technically related, we lived in separate homes at one point. And the time I spent with each person, respectfully, taught me a different lesson. And that's what I really want to get into. So on this first mic break, I want to focus on my father and the impact he had on me early on. So my dad, he migrated from Mexico in '77. And well, he actually came from nothing. He built us a pretty comfortable home here, so comfortable in fact that sometimes I take certain things for granted. For example, I remember one day they gifted me a pair of boots. Mind you, I looked up to my dad as a kid, so I wanted to be just like him. I copied his mannerisms, I even dressed like him, with my tejana, cinto, camisa fajada, and a pair of boots. Anyways, on this day, I went into the backyard and I picked a pomegranate. And if you know, you know, pomegranate stains. So as I was eating it, a few drops fell on my boots. To me, they were ruined, so I didn't want them anymore. I asked my dad for a new pair, and as with most things, he gave me a long story about how when he was a kid, all he had was a pair of huaraches. But in my mind, all I was thinking was, is that a no? Mind you, we lived comfortably, but never spoiled. If I wanted something, I had to work for it, one way or another. He taught me a lot of valuable lessons and things that I didn't really think of until later on in my life. But looking back, he just wanted me to be a man, hecho y derecho, he would say. Another thing, and actually the one thing he emphasized on the most, was eres hombre, los hombres no lloran, and that my grandma used to whoop his behind if he even shed a tear when he was a kid. I remember one day, and this day is vivid in my mind, it's one of my earliest memories actually. I was maybe 4, 5, maybe even younger. I heard my dad going into the backyard, so I put on my boots and I followed him. Our backyard was like a little paradise to me. We had palm trees, an orange tree, we had that pomegranate tree, we had a caballo named Flash because of how fast he was. We had a donkey named Filimon. I don't know why they named him that. We had farm roosters, gallinas, chivos. We had a turkey and a peacock at one point. So as my pops was doing this thing, I remember we had this tall tree in the middle of the backyard with a swing on it. That swing was built mostly for my sisters since they were bigger and older than me. So I'm trying to get on the swing, but I can't because it's too high. So I pick up this mini boulder and not easy to hop up. My dad's yelling at me, get off the swing. I'm like, okay. But when he goes back to doing his thing, I hop on. And I start swinging. I mean really swinging. I feel like I was flying. Unfortunately, I end up losing my grip and I fall head first onto that boulder. I remember as I was opening my eyes, I see my dad rushing towards me. I don't know why, but when I see my dad, all I can think is, don't cry, pick yourself up. So I do. I start standing before he gets to me. He looks at me pensive. I can't read his expression. I'm thinking, damn, he gonna be mad because I defied him. But no, he picks me up, he takes me into the house, he cleans me up. I didn't realize I split my head wide open. So he turns to me, and well, after the whole ordeal was done, he looks at me and he tells me, son, I'm proud of you for picking yourself up and dusting yourself off. That always stayed with me throughout my teen years. So regardless of the situation, it didn't matter what I faced. There was times where I was so frustrated and I feel like I wanted to cry. For example, on this next mic break, I'm gonna tell you a little story about something that I had to pick myself up and dust myself off. So the next song I'm gonna play is Be Thankful for What You Got by William Devon. And that song, it reminds me of the next chapter in my life and a lot of things that I went through with my mother when I had to go move in with her. I'm on the Uncuffed playlist.